This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. Tasmania's health crisis is reaching a peak tonight, with staff at the Royal Hobart Hospital saying the situation is worse than it's ever been. Closures in the private health system have compounded the issue, forcing patients to turn to the public hospital. Our political reporter Michelle WISBEY has been following the story for us today. Michelle, good evening. What's the situation like at the moment?
Well, Joe, the Royal Hobart Hospital is still operating at the highest level of its escalation plan tonight. Level 4 is described as a system that is severely compromised in the delivery of safe patient care, with all capacity in use. Staff at the Royal Hobart Hospital have contacted us today. They say they're under a huge amount of pressure and they don't see any relief in sight. As well as that, tonight we hear from a mother sharing her own experience in the emergency department yesterday.
On the edge of an internal crisis, staff say the struggling Royal Hobart Hospital is the busiest they've ever seen it.
Imagine also what it's like for the staff there, knowing that the care that they're able to give is not good enough and that people are going to die because of that.
Last night, Nadine and her 3-year-old daughter spent hours waiting in the hospital corridor. Indiana struggling to breathe after an asthma attack.
It was not a spare spot you could even stand for 5 minutes, really. We have been there like monthly up until recently, and it's just, it's unbelievable.
We're probably having the worst escalation 4 event of the year right now. We're right in the middle of it.
The news follows another day of the highest level of hospital escalation, and more than 10 ambulances ramped yesterday.
It's getting worse, it's not getting better, and the circumstances are such that if we were to have had a bad flu this year, our hospital system would not have coped.
When was the last time that nurses and doctors were not being asked to work double shifts or triple shifts and then more? Nobody can remember.
The time for talk, frankly, is over. We're currently in the last year of building the new buildings, and that's going to provide opportunity for extra capacity at our hospitals.
The Royal still struggling with the flow-on effects of the Hobart Private Hospital and Calvary-Lenna Valley denying ambulances yesterday, a decision reversed today. The reason for the temporary closure, staff away for school holidays and sickness.
It's not right that the Royal Hobart Hospital, which is already a very busy hospital and awaiting its new buildings in a year from now, should also have to carry the load for 2 other private hospitals.
They cannot continue to afford to rely on private hospitals to pop up the health system when they need to be providing public healthcare services to the entire Tasmanian community.
And at the same time, a scathing new analysis of our health funding says the government has diverted $1.6 billion in GST away from health. It says Tasmanians are paying the price and it could be costing lives.
It's a false claim. Frankly, it's just more talk, and the time for talk is over. The government's about action and providing more support, more resources and more buildings.
We're not talking about a luxury system. We are talking about delivering Tasmanians the national average standard of care that every other Australian gets except us.
Action staff say is needed now. Michelle WISBEY, Southern Cross News.
Police officers patrolling the state's northwest coast will now be better protected with the rollout of more body-worn cameras. The technology will be issued over the next 5 weeks to 90 officers in BYRNE and Devonport, adding to the 100 cameras in Launceston and 75 already operating in Hobart. Police say the cameras will help prosecutors in court and also have a positive influence on how the general public interacts with frontline officers. Tasmania's housing price growth is slowing, according to the latest data from realestate.com.au. In the last quarter, Hobart, Devonport and Launceston all saw drops in their median property prices, with Devonport's the largest. That soaked up some of the gains over the full year, with double-digit growth recorded in Hobart. Property analysts say buyers continue to be very active, but the boom is slowing and investors are pulling back.
If you're looking for double-digit growth in Hobart, it's probably a little bit too late, but it will continue to see moderate price growth.
Hobart is still the strongest market in the country, and South Hobart and Battery Point were the nation's top 2 suburbs in demand, according to the real estate website. International freight flights are edging closer to reality, with a new freight handling facility nearing completion at Hobart Airport. Services are being pursued for destinations like Hong Kong, Shanghai or Guangzhou, in what would be a major boost for Tasmanian farmers.
Rapid construction at Hobart Airport has seen this structure pop up in just 3 months. It's a sign of the airport's continuing expansion, a $13 million freight handling facility.
It's a bit of a game changer for the airport. It actually allows us to export air freight out of the airport directly from the airport straight through the freight facility and onto an aircraft.
This section will include a cool store for fresh produce. Link Logistics signing on as the first tenant, eyeing opportunities to export domestically and internationally.
Certainly Shanghai and Hong Kong are the 2 major markets. There's obviously other markets outside of those in Guangzhou and obviously other parts of China.
A key benefit of this site is direct airside access and the future possibility of cargo jets parking directly outside.
It's crucial to their day-to-day operations. It speeds up their supply chain and it optimises their labour and how quickly they can transport the goods to market.
But a key piece of the puzzle is still missing: direct international flights.
Direct freight opportunities continue to be progressed, so we are hopeful that we will have an announcement in the future for further direct freight.
The first stage of the facility is on track for completion at the end of next month. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanian primary school students have been given a first-hand experience of life on the farm. Dozens rolled up their sleeves at the Tasmanian Institute of Agriculture in Forth, learning about edible plants, harvesting crops and the latest farming technologies.
It was all smiles ahead of what was a big day on the farm. First up, these youngsters took to the sky, learning how to control and fly a drone. Quickly learning it's not as easy as it looks.
Some people think it's easy, but for us it's real hard. Yeah, it was really fun, but it's pretty hard flying one.
Drones are being used more and more on Tassie properties to monitor livestock, scan crop fields and also for GPS map creation.
What's it like to fly a drone?
Well, the simulator was pretty hard, but it's not as hard as it looks when you get out here.
And after some near misses, it was back on solid ground, learning what vegetable crops look like and how to tell what's edible and what's not.
They're learning about vegetables and how they might be grown and what vegetables look like when they first start growing, and they're having opportunity to plant some vegetables as well.
The program is a school holiday initiative run by Children's University Tasmania, aiming to inspire these little learners to think about their futures and possible career options.
Do you want to be a farmer?
Probably not, but it is fun.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
Police officers from around the country have gathered in Hobart to honour the memory of a young Tasmanian who tragically lost his life. Ty Bennett, a keen footballer, was killed while on duty in 1999. Today, the Memorial Shield, named in his honour, was delivered in spectacular fashion.
Touching down on the hallowed turf of North Hobart Oval, officers united for a guard of honour as Ty's father and former Assistant Commissioner Barry Bennett delivered his son's memorial shield.
Very humbling. Ty's been recognised in so many ways over 20 years, but none's more important than to be recognised his peers in sport.
The popular Hobart footballer had only been serving on the force for 5 years when he lost his life in a car crash while on duty at just 23 years of age.
Ty loved his footy, he lived life to the full, he never left anything in the tank when he left us.
I'm a positive, optimistic person that like to help others, like to see others around him happy, and I guess when you have a person like that, it does stick.
With the state hosting the 30th National Police Football Championships, more than 200 officers will battle it out over the week as Tasmania looks to claim its first ever title in memory of those who couldn't be here to watch.
This has been a traditional part of the police football for many, many years now. The games have been played in honour of the memory of fallen police officers.
Competition wraps up on Friday. Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
Two prized John Glover paintings have gone under the hammer for more than $160,000. The two landscapes have rarely been displayed in public and were quickly snapped up by a local buyer.
More than 170 years old, these landscapes have long been hidden from public eye.
These are probably two of the most significant paintings that I've ever offered in the history with the business.
Painted by John Glover in Tasmania around 1840, the oilworks depict two Italian vistas. They were among the artist's final pieces as his eyesight began to fail. After 30 years in storage at the Queen Victoria Gallery, they passed into private hands, only adding to their value at auction.
$162,000. Oh, thank you, sir.
The winning bid came from well-known businessman and winemaker Joseph CHROMY, who says the paintings remind him of the Europe he left behind in 1951.
Very happy, and that was my dream a long time. Yeah.
It's not every day paintings of such high calibre go under the hammer in Launceston. Auctioneers say they're just happy to have sold to a local buyer.
To have them remain in Tasmania, yeah, we feel very, very happy about that.
Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
Active Launceston has celebrated 10 years of offering free healthy expertise to Tasmanians. Staff and aldermen today cut the cake on the program, which shows no sign of running out of breath.
No, we didn't think we were going to make it this far, but I've got visions now of us being around for another 20 or 30 years. It really is an essential service for our community.
The project offers free physical exercise programs across Launceston. It's estimated to have delivered 40,000 hours of activity over the past decade. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. A surprising turnaround has seen the Australian market finish the day higher, with banking and tech stocks shrugging off leftover jitters from Wall Street. The ASX 200 index has risen by 8.7 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 71.18 US cents and 109.79 New Zealand cents.
The Tasmanian Tigers one-day cup hopes have been shattered, with Victoria clinching a dominant win a short time ago. 7 wickets from paceman Gurinder Sandhu provided a glimmer of hope, but the Tigers couldn't produce with the bat. It was only a matter of centimetres that stopped Jackson Bird from getting the Tigers off to a perfect start, as Cameron White went on to make them pay.
Oh, it goes again. He did it earlier in the over. Has he repeated the dose? Yes, he has.
Marcus Harris paying Clive Rose the same courtesy.
The other day, oh, that's a fair start.
That is, there's a crowd catch. It's gone down, but Marcus Harris won't be worried about that.
Simon Malenko showing the crowd how it's done to put an end to the partnership, but White continued to wreak havoc.
White advances. He's played a similar shot a couple of times this afternoon already.
In need of a lift, Tom Rogers provided with a bit of help from Bird. Gurinder Sandhu finally ending the Danger Man's innings on 88 before sending another of Victoria's heavy hitters to the sheds.
There's a slow one. He's completely deceived. Bailey takes the catch and Sandhu takes the enormous wicket of Glenn Maxwell.
The quick almost single-handedly accounting for the rest of the Bushrangers' order, throwing in a final over hat-trick during an incredible 7-wicket haul, with the Tigers left chasing 275 for victory. Matthew Wade got down to business early with back-to-back boundaries, but hopes of a big total were soon dashed.
The edge. Hanscom's taken it.
With 2 centuries to his name this tournament, Ben McDermott looked hungry for number 3.
He takes him on forward. Ahmed is going the distance. McDermott just goes whack.
But the spinner soon had his revenge.
McDermott, the big wicket goes. Ahmed gets his man.
From there, the Bushrangers' attack had little trouble taming the Tigers' order, Jordan Silk lasting just 11 balls, with his skipper also out of sorts.
Edged. Bailey goes, massive wicket. Feckerty gets it.
Alex Doolan providing some rare innings highlights, but the damage was done as a bottom order crumble saw Victoria take the match by 110 runs. And it's now Australia's richest 10-kilometre race and Tasmania's largest fun run, and next year's Hobart Run the Bridge celebrates its 10th anniversary. DEJEN GEBRESELASSIE is eyeing off the race record, having recently broken the Tasmanian half marathon record in Wales, which stood for almost 40 years.
It's just about myself, challenging myself and getting that record. Probably 28:30 is going to be a big number, but I want to do that.
Organisers are currently in talks with the state government in the hopes of getting the Tasman Bridge closed for the event after trialling it for the first time this year.
The feedback from the participants and from the people of Hobart was that it was a positive for the event, a positive for the city. It was a talking point for sure, but surprisingly there wasn't too many negatives that came out of it.
The Battle of the Sexes competition will return, which sees the elite women start in front of the men to battle it out for a $2,000 line honours bonus. The race begins on Sunday, February 17, with entries now open. A Tasmanian motocross rider has beaten the odds to claim a podium finish in the Australian Off-Road Championships. Despite breaking both elbows during the season, KYRON Bacon had a flawless final round to finish second in the overall standings.
KYRON Bacon is one tough trailblazer. He broke an elbow and kept on riding. In fact, he only stopped when he broke the other elbow a few weeks later.
I had to put 2 screws in my left one and 2 screws in my right one, so they'll stay in for my whole life now.
It came at a bad time. KYRON had just come off a win in the Australian Off-Road Championships and had to miss the next round. But last weekend in Victoria, the speedster from Somerset caught up, claiming wins in both races in the championship's final round of the season to finish second overall.
At the moment I'm still getting all my muscle back and everything, but I'm getting faster every time I hop back on the bike.
And if that keeps up, KYRON will be making a big mark in the seniors next year.
So I'll be riding with all the top Australian guys and the seniors and everything, so it's going to be a good experience.
He's come a long way from when he first jumped on a bike at 2 years old.
I had to ride around in gumboots because nothing fit.
Now he's among the hottest property entering the country's highest level of off-road racing. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. A chilly start to the day with below average temperatures due to the southerly breezes. Hobart 11, Launceston 16 today, Devonport 15 and BYRNE a high of 13 degrees. A few more showers fell overnight but conditions cleared early this morning. Strawn 15 degrees, King Island, Lowhead, Friendly Beaches and Ooze 14, Flinders Island 13, St Helens 12, Grove 11, Lyawini 8. There was a little low cloud evident over the east coast today, but most of the state back to clear skies. A bit more there to the west though heading our way. Large areas of convection with thunderstorms over central Australia and southeast Queensland. Throw a bit more in over Western Australia and some mid-level cloud over eastern New South Wales. Tomorrow the high is over our region, extending ridges over central and eastern Australia. The broad trough over the rest of the mainland weakens. The winds southwest to southeasterly at 10 to 20 knots. Afternoon sea breezes over northern waters with light winds inland. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Another cold start, frost for susceptible regions. Hobart partly cloudy and 15 the top for Cygnet, 17 the high for New Norfolk. For Launceston, a cool night, 2 overnight, a sunny day tomorrow and a 19 degrees, 15 for Devonport. Early frost for Campbelltown, getting up to 16 later. BREEN sunny and 15, mostly sunny for Strawn, 17 the top and 16 for Smithton. St Helens tomorrow, mostly sunny and 14 degrees, 15 the high for Swansea, -1 to start the day at Fingal, 17 the high later. UV getting up to a high 6 over a few regions. On Friday now, showers over the east and north with fine weather for the western half. Showers over the north on Saturday morning, fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. And on Sunday, mostly fine apart from another shower over the north. Partly cloudy in Perth and Adelaide tomorrow. Sunny in Melbourne, a shower or two in Sydney and Brisbane, a shower and possible storm for Alice Springs. Clear conditions here, Hobart 10 degrees, Launceston 13, Devonport 11 and Joe, that's all I have.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Murph. That's all we have for all of us tonight. See you a bit later. Bye-bye.
2,000 in the front. 62 anyone else. Second time at 162,000.